Hello, you silly geese. It is I, Lily, and today I am putting together my personal tier list for all of the ascendancies in the game and how they perform with Thorns. Now, Thorns is a very interesting archetype that can be scaled in a lot of different ways, and this actually makes it a viable build on basically every ascendancy in the game. However, some ascendancies are going to work better than others, like Smith of Kitava is insanely cracked, and I don't think Invoker's particularly good. Spoilers for the rest of the video, but that's what's happening in today's video and on today's stream, because this is being recorded live at twitch.tv/sillyasLily. Hi chat! So we are going to be starting off with the chunk, the Acolyte of Chayula, the Lighty, if you will, the Chalupa, Chipotle, whatever the fuck you want to call him. We're starting with Acolyte of Chayula. Now, I believe Panahands is considering an Acolyte of Chayula league start because of some of the changes that Acolyte of Chayula is receiving in the patch notes. I know a big one is the Red Flames giving 15% life leech with 50% increased effective remnants and 50% increased remnant pickup range. I believe this basically just means that you pick up the Red Flames instantly, no effort required. And those leech 15% of your maximum life. So, maths, it would take 7 of those. It would take 7 of those to get you to full life. But it is obviously over time. But the more of them you have, the faster you're going to regen. So that is the big buff that I think makes Acolyte of Chayula seem interesting for Thorns, is just the insane regen that will give you. I believe that volatility is another part of it. You make it so that you can inflict ailments with chaos damage, and that gets you volatility, which gets you more chaos damage, which gets you more ailments, which gets you more volatility, which gets you more ailments, and you also take no damage from volatility exploding when you can get to the full 200 for 200% of damage as extra chaos damage. All of the Thorns related nodes are miles away. You'd have to instill Thornhide, not the most expensive instill in the world, but you're not getting retaliation, you're not getting revenge. You're going to have a hard time getting anything to do with strength scaling or block, but you are going to get, there's a lot of crit around, there's a lot of chaos damage around, there's a lot you can do as a Thorns chunk. I don't think this is amazing. I'm going to tentatively put it in B tier. It could be A tier when I've got some more ascendancies to compare it to. It's kind of halfway between A and B tier right now. It could be S tier if you can figure out some mechanics, but I don't trust that yet. Amazon. This is an ascendancy I've never played, so I actually really don't know much about Amazon. We're not consuming charges. Life recovers based on elemental damage as well as physical damage. Maybe if you go for a LE conversion setup, maybe you could go for a lightning thorn setup or something. Evasion rating is doubled. We don't want to go evasion based. Reveal weakness could maybe be good. And some increased movement speed and skill speed is not terrible, but honestly, I'm gonna put Amazon in D tier. I don't think it's dirt tier. I don't think it's good enough. Now, Blood Mage can actually probably mana stack, but more importantly, it can get really tanky with Grasping Wounds and Crimson Power. It'll just give you an insane amount of life, and you'll also get Energy Shield scaling. I just worry about how much actual damage you might get with Blood Mage. You can get Gore Spike, which is 1% increased critical damage bonus per 50 life, which would increase your life quite a lot. If we were gonna do a Blood Mage, you probably come down here, grab both of these. Life Remnants is good for recovery. Crimson Power will give you a fuck ton of life. And then Gore Spikes will give you some damage, but this is going to be a really tanky build that just is Z DPS sometimes. I'm going to say Blood Mage is Blood Mage is B tier with Acolyte of Chayula. I think Acolyte of Chayula is marginally better, but I think Acolyte of Chayula gets more damage. Blood Mage gets more tankiness. But they're both B tier. They're both gonna struggle with one thing. Acolyte's gonna struggle to be tanky enough. Blood Mage is gonna struggle to get enough damage. But they're both good at what they respectively do. Next up, we have Chronomancer. Now, Chronomancer is an interesting one. So Chronomancer, the big thing about Chronomancer is recoup effects occur over 4 seconds. You can get a ton of life recoup on Chronomancer. I think you can pretty easily get 100% life recoup. with Defiance of Destiny, you can be refilling your entire health bar every like 1 to 2 seconds, which just solves your recovery so immediately. But there is kind of a problem of you can't really use any of the other nodes on Chronomancer particularly well. After images of your recent past, cast a spell to return to the order. So after image, teleporting to that location and resetting your life, mana, and energy shield. I mean, that's not terrible for tankiness, so you probably go here and then here. I don't think time freeze is good at all for Thorns. It just stops time. Again, maybe like a panic button that lets you regen, but you're not going to press it much. Everything else is completely useless. Some of them are worse than nothing. You could take some more recoup, like that, and a little bit more AoE like that. It's bad. It's tanky. It is tanky. It's better than Amazon, but it's not good. The Deadeye's obviously been nerfed into the fucking ground. But let's take a look at Deadeye anyway. What's really nice is called shots, which I don't think has been changed. Bullseye requires called shots. Called shots doesn't require bullseye. Bullseye applies critical weakness, 10 stacks of it. Causes hits against targets to have plus 0.5% to critical hit chance and can stack up to 20 times if not otherwise specified. Each stack lasts 4 seconds. That's a 5% crit chance and guaranteed marks. I mean, that's pretty good to start off with, because you can break armor with marks. Enemies marked by supported skills have armor broken equal to 10% of physical damage taken. Getting mark on hit with that, it doesn't even matter which mark you go for, but you can have increased critical damage bonus with sniper's mark. It's pretty fucking banging. It's basically Warbringer, but 2 checkpoints across the tree. But then from there, we've got no use for frenzy charges. We're not doing projectiles. We're still not doing projectiles. So you would just take Tailwind, but Wind Ward's gone. Did they replace it with anything? Mirage Deadeye meta skill, which is firing a ranged attack projectile. So literally, you are getting 3 points. You can do nothing. You can do nothing. You just take your 3 Ascendancy points and you're happy with it. However, those 3 Ascendancy points do come with free armor break a la Warbringer, which is what makes Warbringer really good. So I'm going to put Deadeye in C tier. You don't have a lot of scaling on the side of the tree. You don't get to use all your Ascendancy points. It's got the same issues as Chronomancer. It's also got nothing to make it tankier, but you are going to be a little bit faster, especially between packs. You're going to get a lot of damage from marking and from armor break. Gemling. Now, Gemling's historically been pretty good for Thorns. Let's have a look. What was changed about Gemling? Easier max res. We can get +2 to level of all skills with a strength requirement. This is +2 to levels of scavenged plating. That's insanely good. We're also getting some quality to scavenged plating, which is going to make the duration higher. This is just going to mean that you don't have to consume your armor break nearly as much, because your scavenged plating will last longer, which means you get more advantage of armor break, and then also your scavenged plating is 2 levels higher, which is a ton of damage. Inherent bonuses gained from attributes are doubled is not bad. That's going to give you a lot of life, but adaptive capability doesn't really do anything for us. I would say Gem Studded is a little bit better for crit immune, which is very nice. And then you can go for Thaumaturgical Infusion. You can just slap a bunch of support gems in random gems, and now you're getting maximum resistances across the board to make yourself a lot tankier. I think Gemling is actually really good. I don't think it's on the same tier as any of the warrior ascendancies, but I think it's on par. If not, actually, I think it's better than Acolyte and Blood Mage. I think it has a level of comfiness that puts it in A tier. Then Infernalist. Infernalist is actually a personal favorite of mine. So this is where you mana stack. This is where Ice Tomb comes into play. Gain Cold Thorns damage equal to 10 to 18% of your maximum mana. Reserves 25% of life for 1% max mana per 6 maximum life. If you get a ton of life, you can also then get Beard's Hand for even more. You can then spec into Eldritch Battery for even more mana. I have a mana stacking Thorns Infernalist. I can't demonstrate it right now because it's currently very torn apart, but I think I was getting up to like 3,000 mana which was just giving me a ton of damage with Ice Tomb. And then you can also go Mind Over Matter for even more tankiness. It's kind of actually insane. I don't know how it's going to perform with the changes to the tree, because you were going for Avatar of Fire, which obviously crosses across the top left here. It might get more expensive to do that crossing. It might get cheaper. I know we really like Molten Carapace and Molten Being, which is being moved down here. So the pathing's a lot more expensive for Infernalist this league, but genuinely, Infernalist was so fucking fun last league. So I really liked it. Last league, I would have called it S tier. This league, I'm going to call it A tier. I just think other ascendancies have more new things to offer that Infernalist doesn't, but Infernalist is without a doubt the best ascendancy for mana stacking Thorns. Mana stacking just isn't in a great state right now. What's our next ascendancy, chat? Invoker. Invoker is like my example of what's truly ass for Thorns. There really is just nothing good on Invoker for Thorns. Invoker is just the most dead ascendancy for Thorns in the game. I'm going to add a tier, and we're just going to call it Invoker, and we're going to make it like purple, and we're going to put Invoker in its own special tier. Because Invoker is that bad for Thorns. It's completely unplayable. It's the worst ascendancy for Thorns. I am dead serious when I say that. It just stands no chance at all. It's just not gonna work. I'm pretty sure Carl has played Thorns Invoker, but I don't know what the fuck you're getting from your ascendancy on Invoker. Lich is next. Lich is another favorite of mine. Was a Infernalist, is now a Lich. Because I think Lich is just what you switch to from Infernalist once you have infinite budget. You can use Crystalline Phylactery to get more mana. You can use Soulless Form to get more mana regeneration. You can use Necromantic Conduits for chaos damage. You can use Blackened Hearts for even more chaos damage from maximum mana. But it's just what you play on a higher budget version of Infernalist. It's not the best league starter. It's not league start friendly, but it is strong. It's not A tier with Infernalist. I'd say it's B tier with Blood Mage and Acolyte of Chayula. I would hazard to guess with a fair bit of confidence that my Thorns Lich last league was the highest DPS Thorns character in the league. I don't know, because we can't actually get damage simulation for Thorns, but the damage of my Thorns Lich was absolutely insane. It was so fucking good. But it was a little bit squishy. It was using Mind Over Matter. It wasn't using Mind Over Matter, it was using other sources of damage taken from mana before life. But it had enough to basically be functionally like Mind Over Matter, but without the reduced mana recovery. But even without Mind Over Matter, the mana recovery was so fucking bad. So you would die to like any sort of degen, or like lots of little hits would just take you out because you just couldn't recover enough. Oracle is like unknown here. We don't super know how good it is yet. So the big question mark with Oracle is paths not taken. This could be where GGG goes and puts the crown alternative if they hate us. In which case Oracle would be SSSSS plus tier. Or it could be dog shit, in which case it's next to Invoker. We don't know. It's at least better than Invoker, because damage of enemies hitting you is unlucky, is really good. S plus or next to Invoker. S plus or Invoker. We're going to make it this shade of purple, we're going to add it, and that's going to be where Oracle goes. Pathfinder. Oh, Pathfinder. Pathfinder, my finder of paths. The important thing here is the Pathseeker multi-choice ascendancy, which lets you go from the warrior starting node, or the witch starting node, or the ranger starting node. It's kind of fucking insane. You could also get 5% increased damage and 5% increased global defenses or 5% increased cost efficiency. Any of these from Traveler's Wisdom. You'd go Traveler's Wisdom, you'd go the new thing, and then you'd probably just go for unaffected by slows and can sprint always. And now, boom, you're tanky. You have access to like every jewel socket in the game. You can take Thorns nodes, but you can also take movement speed nodes. I can't find any of them right now, but there are movements. Here we go, movement speed nodes. You can take both because you can get both starting areas. And you can go Giga Jewel sockets with Adorned on a Giga budget. I'm gonna say Pathfinder is like a solid A tier, could be S. I'm gonna put a top of A tier. It's at the top of A tier. Same as Lich is probably top of B tier. Pathfinder is just it's really good. Potentially. When you have mirrors of budget. So let's go next Ascendancy. Ritualist. Okay, this is a good one. Unfold Finger is possibly the strongest Ascendancy point in the game. And for the cost of 30% reduced maximum mana on a build that doesn't really use mana is just really good. Let's see what changes were made to Ritualist in the patch, I don't remember. Oh yes, the Ritual Sacrifice Stolen Modifier now lasts 2 fucking minutes. Absolutely insane. You also get 25% increased bonuses gained from equipped rings and amulets for even more defenses. Now you can get life recovery rate per 5 missing unreserved life if you want. You can do more charm charges gained. You can do Blood Boil. Blood Boil is not bad for getting you some clear, especially considering you now deal 15% more damage to enemies affected by Blood Boil. I kind of think that's just always the last option. Ritualist is fucking insane. If you don't want to play a warrior, Ritualist is probably your best option for Thorns. Ritualist is also tried and tested. A bunch of people league started Ritualist Thorns last league. Ritualist Thorns can also mana stack if you want, because even though you don't have access to anything mana related on the tree, you can still get so much more mana because you can get percent mana on your ring, and you can get that on 3 rings with 25% increased effect, and you can also get a percent mana on your amulet. Honestly, you can probably get more mana from amulets and rings on Ritualist than you can get from the fucking tree as a witch or a sorceress. It's fucking insane. It's so good. This is our first S tier Ascendancy. Ritualist is our first S tier Ascendancy of the tier list. Ritualist is insanely good. So many people say Ritualist is really good, and I still think Ritualist is underrated. Not even just for Thorns. For like the whole fucking game. Unfold Finger goes toe to toe with Hulking Form for strongest node in the game. Okay, Shaman. We come to another new Ascendancy. Shaman, I think, is more obviously good for Thorns than fucking Oracle because of Avatar of Evolution. Now, obviously, everything to do with Shaman is subject to change, but 5% of physical damage, or 15% of physical damage taken as elemental is insane. And then the adaptations, if they remain to being take 4% less, take 4% less. If it remains, take 8% or 4% plus times 4% less elemental damage per adaptation, depending on how many maximum adaptations you get. This could make you insanely tanky. It also gives you recoup for even more tankiness. You can also get bonded Greater Rune of Tithing, potentially. Could be good, could be bad, we don't know. Even if it's bad, Avatar of Evolution should be insanely good. I don't know what we do with our last 4 points, but I don't think it matters. I think Oracle is just going to be so tanky and could also get good damage if Wisdom of the Magi is good. And also, it's top left of the tree, which will hopefully have buffed Thorns nodes, and it also has access to the warrior area of the tree really easily, so it has access to the existing Thorns nodes. I think Shaman is like worst case scenario A tier, best case scenario S tier. We don't know the details. I'm putting it in A tier. Shaman could be S tier, but I don't want to copy him too hard, so I'm gonna and bait a million people into playing Thorns Shaman. So I'm gonna put it lower A tier to be safe, but it's anywhere between lower A tier and S plus tier, depending on information that we don't have yet. Then we have Smith of Kitava. I think Smith of Kitava is the best Thorns League starter. We can just have a look at one of my favorite YouTubers quickly. If we go here, Silly as Lily on YouTube chat, she put out this really, really good Smith of Kitava Thorns League Start video today. I think she thinks Smith of Kitava is gonna be a really good League starter for basically any build in 0.4. She maybe thinks that GGG slightly overtuned Smith of Kitava. Anyway, if you want to know why Smith of Kitava is good this league, each notable connected to Smith's Masterwork notable, these only cost 1 point each, now grants 200% armor in addition to its other bonuses to equipped body armor. This means if we craft an item, let's go body armor, let's go with a soldier cuirass. We need to make it normal. Sorry, we need to make it a normal soldier cuirass with 30% quality, because that's possible in the new league, and 4 runes for armor. So before Smith, this gives you 1,200 armor. Not that good. After Smith, it gives you 4,772 armor. At the cost of all your ascendancy points, fair, but you also get like other bonuses from it. Existing, you get fire resistance, but on top of that, you can get 100% increased Thorns damage, you can get 30% increased spirit, you can get 100% reduced critical damage taken, you can get unaffected by all damaging ailments, you can get, Fifth body armor grants 50% of armor to also applies to elemental resistance. You can get 100% of armor, also applies to chaos resistance. You can get 75% fire res, 15% increased life, 20% increased strength. Smith is absolutely insane in 0.4. S tier. Easy S tier. Okay, Stormweaver. From a Thorns perspective. We're back to the low hopes ascendancies. What can you get as Stormweaver with Thorns? Arcane Surge is really nice for mana stacking, and 20% of damage taken from mana before life is really, really good for mana stacking. Increased effect of Arcane Surge on you per 10% missing mana is really, really good for mana stacking. It starts in the top area of the tree, which is really, really good for mana stacking. Remnants reappear once is really, really good for mana stacking. This will make mana stacking nice and stronger. And then there is nothing else at all that's good for Stormweaver from Thorns. You could go for Double Shock Stormweaver if you use, I think it's Call of the Brotherhood, that converts all elements to lightning. So Stormweaver's pretty good as a mana stacker. It's not on the same level as Lich or Infernalist. It's also not as good as Blood Mage as a mana stacker goes, but it's a pretty decent mana stacker. It's nothing special, but it's like okay. I would put Stormweaver in B tier, probably above Blood Mage, below Lich. Only for mana stacking Thorns though. Next Ascendancy, Tactician. This was A tier, it's not anymore. Thorns can stack and got nerfed. You have no reason to spirit stack as a Tactician, and a solid plan was the only thing we really cared about Thorns wise as a Tactician. We don't use banners. We don't have allies in our presence. We don't want to immobilize. Deflection rating from armor is not bad, but it's not amazing. Defend with 200% of armor could be nice, but max PDR is 50% is not nice. So you would go polish that gear, and you would take 15% increased armor and evasion rating, and maybe you'd take 8% increased spirit, and then you only half ascended. You could go for spirit buff efficiency and get some like extra defensive buffs, but it's really not that big of a deal. And nothing else is good here. So you're spending 5 ascendancy points and not getting that much out of it. I think Tactician was insane last league. I think Tactician is dead for Thorns this league. I think I will put Tactician in C tier with Chronomancer and Deadeye. It's not completely useless like Amazon and Invoker, but it's not good. Titan goes straight to S tier. Titan's the best Thorns Ascendancy in the game on high budget. Where Smith of Kitava is the best on low budget, Titan's the best on high budget. You do have to manually break armor, so it does have that downside compared to Warbringer. But as I mentioned earlier in the stream, Hulking Form is insane. Hulking Form is on the same level as Unfold Finger and Smith's Masterwork. Hulking Form is insanely good, and then you can get 15% more maximum life. You don't really have much to do with your other things. You can do 50% more armor from equipped body armor. You're going to be running a brass dome. That's going to have about 5,000 armor on it. So this is going to give you 2,500-ish armor, which is a ton. So you're going to look like this. You're going to have what I like to call the flower setup, because it looks like a flower. And you're going to be insanely strong. This is not a league starter, because Hulking Form only really comes online at level 90 plus. But once Hulking Form comes online, you can just be so insanely tanky as a Titan and still have damage. You're not sacrificing damage for that. You're in the Thorns area of the tree. Hulking Form's also gonna give you damage. Titan's immediate S tier. It's above Smith of Kitava. It's the best Thorns Ascendancy in the game. Zero fucking doubt. Warbringer, also straight to S tier. I'm putting it below Smith of Kitava. It's personal preference. They're both exceptional league start options for Thorns. Warbringer did have the Imploding Impact buff. Imploding Impact now also grants fully broken armor you inflict, increases all damage taken from hits. As a Thorns Warbringer, you might go Fire Thorns, but you're still going to be exploit weaknessing the armor break like almost immediately, so this is completely unhelpful. An Ancestral Warhorn minion that has nothing to do with Thorns. So for Warbringer, you're taking Anvil's Weight, you're taking Jade Heritage, and you're taking Turtle Charm. You have 75% block chance now. This is going to make you really, really defensive. 35% base block chance is also just going to improve your defenses a ton. You have Jade Heritage for reduced physical damage taken and also a panic button. It can provide you with insane amount of, not ward, what's it called in Period 2? Guard. And then Anvil's Weight breaks armor equal to 10% of hit damage dealt. This means that you can break armor as Elemental Thorns without Resonating Shield or Armor Breaker or the new Bear Roar. You just have free armor break. This is insanely good quality of life for Thorns. It removes an entire button from the build. It brings you down from a 2-button build to a 1-button build. But there isn't really that much reason to go Warbringer other than the comfort of Anvil's Weight. It's the easy playstyle. It's not the strongest Thorns Ascendancy. I think that Smith and Titan are both stronger. They can get more damage. They can get more tanky, but they can't get more quality of life. Warbringer has insanely good Thorns quality of life. Last patch, Warbringer was the best Thorns Ascendancy next to Titan. This league, I think it gives up its top spot to Smith of Kitava and Titan, and it sits next to Ritualist. I think it's a little bit better than Ritualist, but they're all S tier. They're all S tier, they're all amazing, they're all really good. And now, the last Ascendancy, and the Ascendancy that I know the least about. And that is Witchhunter. I really don't know much about Witchhunter. I acknowledge the skill issue of it. Obviously, Sorcery Ward was buffed this league. I know a lot of people are ranting and raving about how that's going to be one of the best defense nodes in the game in the new patch. People are calling Witchhunter the HC Ascendancy. I think Smith makes people tankier than anyone realizes. I could take up to 30% of your armor and evasion rating. Now, as Thorns, we're gonna be armor stacking, so letting it take a bunch of your armor is really great. You're going to get a bunch of armor. You're going to get more sorcery rewards. You're going to get a bunch of sorcery rewards. It's going to apply to all of your resistances and your physical damage taken and your chaos damage taken. It's going to make you a lot tankier. But there's not really much else that's particularly good for Witchhunter for Thorns. Concentration is not good because it slows enemies down, which is something you don't want to do as Thorns. Zealous Inquisition is nice. It gives you some AoE. That's quite nice. Culling Strike's not terrible, but it's nothing special. I think you'd probably look like this. I think Witchhunter is tanky, and tanky is good for Thorns, but you're not getting any damage out of Witchhunter, and you're not getting as much tanky out of Witchhunter as you're getting out of Titan and Smith of Kitava. You're not getting the comfiness that comes with Warbringer or Ritualist. I think Witchhunter goes in A tier. I think above Shaman, below Infernalist. Again, Shaman's potentially S+ tier. We don't have enough information. But I think that's where I would put Witchhunter in the Thorns Ascendancy tier list. And I think this just gives us our whole Thorns Ascendancy tier list. Don't touch Invoker. Be wary of Amazon. Chronomancer, Deadeye, and Tactician are good if you have some interesting ideas. Blood Mage, Stormweaver, Acolyte of Chayula, and Lich are pretty decent, but there are other Ascendancies that can do everything they do better. Shaman could be cracked. Shaman could be terrible. We don't know because Druid's not out yet. Witchhunter is extremely good defensively, but is going to struggle a little bit for damage, especially against bosses. Infernalist has insane damage and can get pretty tanky, but struggles with recovery. Gemling Legionnaire can get you extra levels to scavenge plating and a bunch of resistances. It's very nice, but it doesn't offer anything that the S tier ascendancies don't offer. Pathfinder could be S+ tier, but we're gonna need more fiddling around. So much has changed about Pathfinder in the new league. It's either A tier or S+ tier. Not entirely sure, but it's gonna be really expensive. You're not league starting Pathfinder. It's okay, I've got my Adorned now, what do I do? Ritualist is insanely good. Unfold Finger is the strongest Ascendancy node in the game, next to Hulking Form, which also makes Titan insanely good. Warbringer is the comfiest Thorns archetype, and Smith of Kitava is going to be insanely tanky this league, and also has a bunch of nodes that add to your Thorns damage, so Smith of Kitava is going to be absolutely insane. That's where I call it for today. I will see you all for League Start on Saturday morning, my time. I'll be streaming probably just whenever I wake up.